All right, welcome to having some fun with time value of money. We've covered the basics. We've done present value and future value. We've done payments, we've done interest, and now I want to show you how to get a little more complicated and put all those elements together into the same sort of case. And so let's take a look right off the bat at, remember, you've got 4 items, you can always find a fifth, right? So if I give you N, I, PV, payment, you can find FV. If I give you any of the 4, you can find a fifth. And that's sort of refreshing with time value of money and a really easy way to move forward. Let's always look at this outline. Visualizing time value of money is a really critical way of understanding it. Again, we start with present value. It's going to grow at an interest rate. It grows into a future value, and you might have payments. They may come at the beginning of the period or at the end of the period. And that's really the whole 5 variable solution that we get into. So with that in mind, I'd like to tackle the next problem. Okay, this one's a little complicated and we're going to solve it 4 or 5 different ways. So I'm really excited to have you with me. Your parents opened a brokerage account when you were born. They've been saving $25 a week into the account at the beginning of each week. Assume the account earned an annualized return of 8%, but compounding weekly, right? So every week you get a little bit of interest added in. How much is the account worth on your 25th birthday? All right, this is a hard problem, right? I'll be the first to share that. And so what are we trying to do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is fill in the variables, and we're going to see what that looks like. So when we fill in the variables according to the problem, we'll walk through this step by step. First step, $25 a week, right? That is cash flow leaving my wallet. That's a negative cash flow. So every week, $25, $25, $25, okay? The next thing we're going to look at is, well, we know present value is 0, right? We're not starting with anything. We've got the $25 payment. How many payments are there going to be? Well, this one, we're just going to take 25 and we're going to multiply that times 52. And so we get 1,300 as the number of payments. Okay, so we've got the easy stuff done. Negative 25, 0, 1,300. Now, let's get a little sophisticated. What rate am I asking you for? An annualized return of 8%, but that rate's going to compound weekly. So in order to get there, we're going to take a nominal rate of 8. That's what the market earns. And then we're going to compound that rate 52 times a year. So we take that nominal rate of 8, we compound it 52 times a year. And what we find is we get a weekly return of about 0.16% or 0.0016. Go ahead and put that in your Excel calculator, and what you find is a future value of $109,448 and a little bit of change. Fantastic. That's an awful lot of money at $25 a week. But here's the cool part. Once that's in, we can tweak the problem a little bit and get a slightly different answer. And so let's go ahead and start tweaking. First thing, what if I just credit you once a year, right? Instead of that weekly compounding, you're just going to get an annual compounding. What's that going to do? Well, that actually does change the amount of interest you get. If we're going to do a not compounding weekly, but an annualized return, we find that we're going to take 8% is our nominal rate, 52 periods per year. You figure out that's 0.153%. And when we find the future value there, we get 103,797. So a slightly different number, still an awful lot, but not compounding weekly, instead just crediting it, chunking it once a year, you're going to get a little less interest and it won't grow quite as big. So one little change, right? And we can look at the problem from a different lens. Let's make another one. All right, we were saving at the beginning of each week. Everything was an annuity due. What happens if now it's an ordinary annuity? Is it going to change it that much? And I'll be honest, a weekly problem, it's actually not going to change it that much. Annual problems, you'd see a much bigger change. But in this case, if you switch from beginning to end, you can see that that number drops even a little more because you have one less week at the end where your money's going to compound. So we see it drop a little bit, 103,637. And last but not least, we can go ahead and look at if you round a little early. So in Excel, we've got pretty big decimal places that go out a little bit. And what happens if you just shave it off to 4 decimal places? What if you go with 1.538%. Well, in that case, you can see that the number changes just a little bit, right? So instead of 103.63, you're looking at 103.57. And you may say, Craig, well, that's really hard. Like, what's right, what's wrong? And here's the thing with future value. You can't guarantee someone's going to get 8%, right? We're using a market rate. We're taking a look at historically what a bundle of stocks and bonds has returned, and we're saying that over the last 80 years, we assume it's about 8. But it's not 8 every year. It's not guaranteed. And so we have this idea, if you save $25 a week, you're going to have about 103 grand, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And that's what we're trying to do together with time value of money. All right, let's go ahead and jump in Excel, and I'll walk through with you some of the modeling here. If you take a look in our Excel spreadsheet, what we have are some optionalities. You know, we have that 8% interest rate a year, so you can key that into nominal. And then it was a 52 periods that it was going to compound a year initially and 52 periods. So we get our interest rate. Present value was 0, and it was an ordinary annuity to start with. We were saving $25 a week into this thing, right? And so we can key that in. Our number of periods was 1,300, and boom, your initial answer is there for you. So just keep that in mind, annuity due, right? And ordinary annuity would be the function of present, before, or after. And then little things are going to matter, right? If you wound up getting 7 instead of 8, of course you can see a drop. If you got 9 instead of 8, you can see there's more. And so this just gives you a talking point tool about what the future will bring. It's not guaranteed, but it helps you understand the relationship. $25 in, you do it over someone's first 25 years of life, boom, you got 100 grand in the bank.